Hello, kiddies. It's your old pal, the Crypt Keeper. And you're listening to Three Guys in a Flick. The good, the bad, and the gruesomely absurd.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Now I lay me down to sleep. The master of dreams my soul I'll keep. In the reflection of my mind's eye, evil will see itself, and it shall die.
Three guys and a flick with Don, Ken, and John. Dive into the movies well after the dawn. From the good to the bad to the wildly absurd. They give a fuck about films. Their voices are heard.
Welcome back. You are listening to Three Guys in a Flick. This is where we review the good, the bad, and the absurd. Tonight's episode, A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. Beware spoilers. Coming to you from the Crave Inn Diner, my name is Don. Hey, does anybody want a slice of pizza?
Sure, I'd take one.
Wait a minute. Is that the professor's face on that meatball?
I was wondering where the fuck he was.
Oh, that's fucking crazy. Well, he's not here, but joining me tonight, as always, is the comic book guy. This is John.
Howdy ho.
And tonight we have a special guest returning for her second time on the Three Guys. This is Elyse.
Hello.
How's everyone doing tonight?
Full.
Full of what?
I ate tuna. Oh, my stomach hurts.
Okay, well, shit happens.
It's okay.
You play dumb games. You end up crazy.
I was gonna say, shit's gonna happen, apparently.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. We got Nightmare on Elm Street to talk about. We're up to number 4.
Yep, we're going back to Elm Street. And I know for me, this is one of my favorite ones. I really do enjoy this one, even with all of the flaws. And I know you both have flaws with it. So in a respectful manner, allow me to change your mind.
No.
Okay?
I still have number 3 as one of my top ones, followed by 1, followed by maybe like, I don't know, 2, and then this one's down on the list for me.
Did he hear himself?
Yeah. Do you consider yourself a Freddy fan?
Did you just say you put 3 above 1?
Okay, well,
yeah,
that's
3 is
that's
my
a different.
favorite.
No.
Hey,
1 is the best one because you wouldn't have 3 without 1.
Hey.
And 1 sets all the rules. 1 makes sense.
I cannot agree with you more, little one. However, as I've always said, opinions are like assholes. Everyone has them, and everyone stinks.
It's not the first time a sequel was better than the original.
Well, 3's not better than 1, but I will go ahead and allow you to think it is, but it is not on par with Empire or The Dark Knight. So we'll just cut it right there.
Well, for me, it's about when it started to become the MTV Freddy that I enjoy more.
Yeah, and I kind of have a issue with that as well. But again, allow me in a respectful manner to change your minds. Released on August 19th, 1988, A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master was directed by Rennie Harlan. Screenplay by Brian Helgeland and Scott Pierce. Based on the character created by Wes Craven. And it stars Lisa Wilcox, Danny Hassel, Tuesday Night, Brooke Thesis, Ken Sagos, Rodney Eastman, Andres Jones, Nicholas Melee, Brooke Bundy, Robert Englund, and a bunch of other victims.
How'd this movie do, Don?
This movie was made for $7 million and brought in $49 million.
I read somewhere that this was their biggest, before Freddy vs. Jason, this was their biggest box office maker.
Yeah, up until Freddy vs. Jason, you're absolutely right. And then that abominable remake throws its hand into the
We don't
ring
talk
as well.
about the remake.
We did talk about it, and I'm pretty sure we don't want to talk about it anymore.
Well, that was the only time we got it out of our system.
Right. What'd you say?
The one from 2012.
2010.
That's what I said.
Yes, that one. Did you see this in the theater, John?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I did too.
Are you going to ask me?
Yeah. Did you see this in the theater?
No, I wasn't born for another like 30 years.
Wow.
Just want to make you feel
But
old.
Which is true.
I would like to point out you've done a fine job of educating her on the Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
Yes. Well, growing up and as she started to watch movies, we started to watch horror movies, and Freddy kind of hooked her, which, I mean, he's a child killer, so that kind of worries me a little bit. But
It's because he's your favorite.
she's my partner in crime when it comes to
It's his
horror.
favorite.
Well,
It's his favorite.
I was always figuring that you were training her so she would be a last girl if she was ever in that situation.
Oh, I have no doubt in my mind she'll be the final girl.
He bought me a book that I wanted called The Final Girl Support Club about all the final girls getting murdered. It was really good.
Yeah. And I'm just going to throw this out here now since we've said final girl. I'm going to throw Alice into the ring as one of the top final girls. And here's my proof. Okay. She's 2-0 against Freddy.
But let me ask you this.
Go ahead. It doesn't change the fact that she's 2-0. Please.
Would you choose Nancy or Alice?
I didn't say she was the best. I said her name deserves to be thrown into the ring and shown with some respect.
But-
Okay, hold on.
I'm just asking the question.
Okay, hang on. Is she a better final girl than Nancy? Statistically, yes.
No, statistically, yes, but it doesn't make any sense because they added the powers later.
Whoa. Calm down. We'll get there.
Because-
No. We'll
because
get there,
what do you
and
think
I will
about it? But
explain all of that to you.
Nancy is a normal girl. Nancy is not a girl that was like, oh, I have like a special reason for being here. Like her parents were one of the people that killed Freddy, and so she has to fight him. She took it upon herself. She got the courage. She fought him. Alice was given gifts.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Who appeared in more movies?
Nancy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's, yes, she survived Freddy twice, but Nancy appeared in, what, 3 movies?
Yeah, just 3, but she dies in the second one. So Nancy actually dies and then has to be brought back to life?
As Heather.
No, other way around. Heather has to bring Nancy back to life because Nancy, the character, died in 3,
Mhm.
right? So
But I'm saying she comes back in a new nightmare. as
I
Heather.
understand what you're saying, but it still technically makes her 1-1 against Freddy
Mhm.
and 1-0 as the resurrected Nancy. What I was going to say was I still think Nancy is the top final girl without question, without doubt. All I'm saying is Alice deserves a little bit of
Well,
respect.
You know I'm biased on Nancy.
Yes, please. For the, what number is this? 4? The 4th one we've done? Please, for the 4th time, tell the listeners why.
Heather Langenkamp gave me a hug.
Boom. That just happened. I'm not going to say I'm not jealous.
I have
Because
a
I
picture
am.
too. I have a picture.
Yes, we've seen it.
And it
It's
was-
on Instagram, folks.
It was in a hotel. It wasn't like it was even at a convention.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That could be taken out of context.
Her husband was there.
So this movie is directed by Rennie Harlin. This is not the first Rennie Harlin movie we've done here at the Three Guys. We did Die Hard 2, but this is actually his directorial debut. So I thought he did a fine job. I will go ahead and say that this has one of the best deaths in the entire series. I would say that the practicals and just the nightmares are more elaborate and more thought went into it. I think that, yes, some of the practicals look, dated, but A for effort. Is this the best movie in the series? No, it's just one of my favorites.
I'll be interested to hear which is your favorite kill, and we'll get that,
Yeah.
get that later. But
Yeah.
I'll be interested because for me, I think I like the kills better in 3 than I did in 4.
Yeah, and we're going to get into it because
But-
I have a lot of issues with this film, even though I really like it.
But this one,
and maybe it's because I like it so much I have these issues.
I do think that this one really cemented the idea of the creative kills because number 3, they started to kind of do the creative kills. This one really pushed that envelope.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I guess the director Rennie, I looked him up. I wasn't familiar with too much of his work. I forgot that he had done Die Hard 2. He did Adventures of Ford Fairlane, which was a movie I kind of liked back then because I was a little bit into Dice Clay at the time.
Of course you were.
Cliffhanger, Deep Blue Sea, The Strangers. I guess he did a bunch of horror movies.
Yeah, I like Rennie Harlin. I think that Cliffhanger is fantastic. Deep Blue Sea was a lot of fun. Let's talk about this cast a little bit. What did you think of the new characters? Let's go there first.
Well, let's just start with Lisa Wilcox.
Yeah, so Alice.
As Alice.
What'd you think of Alice?
Alice in Wonderland. I thought she did great with this role. I thought they They needed someone to start off all shy and timid and then slowly open up, and she played the character correct.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Alice, actually, as a character. What about you? What did you think of Alice?
I like Alice. She's not my favorite of the girls. I feel like she was really dramatic.
She was.
Yeah,
was.
at times she was like overly dramatic about stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like why? I don't know. Some stuff.
I always like to think of, would I recast it or could someone else have played that role? And I feel like she made that role hers.
Oh, I believe so. I think I really enjoyed this cast.
She's a ginger.
Yes. And I enjoyed the guy who played her brother, Rick. I thought he was a fun character. Deb and Sheila, I thought were great additions. And then Dan
was freaking boring as hell.
I know, but
That's the boyfriend.
That's the jock boyfriend.
I liked him actually. I thought he countered her personality well.
What I liked about his character and the way he got played was no matter what they told him, he didn't immediately go, "Get the fuck out of here." He listened. And that's what I noticed what a lot of the characters do in this movie is they listen to each other, which doesn't happen in all of them.
We'll get to it, but he has one of the stupidest lines in this whole movie that annoys me every time I see it.
I thought that his calmness, I guess his like calm, because Alice was so all the time, I feel like his calmness like complemented it.
I'll just say that I was pretty happy that they killed him off quickly in the next movie.
You're just a hater.
Maybe. That may be very true, little one. We will talk about the fifth movie when we get to the fifth movie because I have a lot to say about that one as well.
Do you just hate jocks?
No, I just didn't think he was a very good actor.
I think he just hates jocks.
I know. Well, I mean,
he was just so cardboard.
Mr. Stardoff's a hater.
What did you think of Tuesday?
She was all right. I wish they would have brought back Patricia Arquette, but I understand why they didn't.
There's all kinds of rumors. Why.
Yeah, she was pregnant, or the deal fell through, or this, that, and the other. But
or
either
not
way,
enough money. Or...
Yeah, but either way, she wasn't in it, and they had to pick someone to pick up the reins. I thought Tuesday Night did good with what she was given. I feel like what she was given was horseshit.
And something that I didn't realize until just this time of doing my research, she sang the Nightmare song in the beginning of the movie,
which gives her a little bit of points in my book, because I think that this is outside of Dream Warriors, the Dawkins song. I think this is the best soundtrack of the series. I liked it. I really enjoyed this soundtrack.
Yeah, I never knew she sang that. And she sings a second song. I think it's Out of Control or something throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Or somewhere in the movie.
It's when she's driving.
Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, we got Robert Englund.
Because he is Freddy.
I mean, he was Freddy in all the movies. Thankfully, it's not one of those movies that they had to replace him at some point, or, you know, he was out one movie, in one movie. He was there for every single movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you hear what he's got coming out?
No, what does he have coming out?
They are making a movie called Pinocchio Unstrung, which is going to be a horror movie version of Pinocchio, where Pinocchio kills bad people.
They're doing a lot of that lately. There's one about Mickey Mouse, Winnie the Pooh, and I just saw another one. Oh, Popeye the Slayer.
Yeah, I've heard that one. Robert Englund is going to play the cricket.
Oh, there you go.
Is it about that time, Don?
I don't know. Where the fuck is the professor, that fucking meatball?
Well, I guess we just do trivia anyway.
All right. What do you think? You want to do some trivia?
Okay.
All right. So for tonight, the comic book guy and myself came up with some questions to try to stump each other. And our guest, we'll see if she was paying attention during the flick. Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
All right. Go ahead, buddy.
I'm going to throw you an easy one.
I love it.
What day does Rick say it is when he climbs down from the second story?
Avoid all contact day.
Very good.
When dad's popping aspirin like popcorn, it's all avoid all contact day. What was playing at the movies when Alice walked into the theater?
A old black and white movie.
It was a double feature. It was Lost Burn Youth and my favorite, Reefer Madness.
Okay. What is the name of Kincaid's dog?
Jason.
And why is he named Jason?
Because that was after Jason Voorhees.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting little bit of Easter egg they threw in there.
Oh, I knew that the moment I watched it in 1988. You didn't put that together?
No, for some reason, I think I just blacked out a lot.
Were
of
you
this movie.
high?
Maybe from Reefer Madness.
Maybe.
The dog was really cute.
It was like a reverse rose.
That's exactly what I was going to
Yeah,
say.
that's what I thought.
He was supposed to, in the dream world, he was supposed to be a hellhound.
Yeah, but budgets. List in order the deaths.
Oh, I think I could do it.
Okay.
Okay. Kincaid dies first.
Yep.
Then Joey.
Yep.
Then Kristen.
Yep.
Then, oh my God. Then it's not the, is it the brother? Oh, then it's, I don't remember her name, but the girl that wheezes, the one with asthma, the black girl with asthma.
I'll give you the point if you can give the name.
Sarah.
Oh, he doesn't know. He knew what it was. Okay, after the asthma is...
Then it's Deb with the
Is that, and then...
Then it's the brother, and then it's Freddy.
And you were so close.
It's the brother, then it's the jock girl, then Freddy.
Then Freddy, that's right. So in order, it's Kincaid, Joey, Kristen, Sheila,
Same
Rick,
thing.
Deb, and Freddy.
I didn't.
Well, good attempt, little one. I'm proud of you. Good job. You, not so much on the other hand. I figured you would know.
This movie, like I said, it's just not one of my favorites, so I don't think I focused.
I like
oh my
Deb's
God. But it's your favorite. You know, we'll get into it when we talk about it. Go ahead. You're up.
What make and model was Alice's family car?
It was a Jeep something. It was big and red.
Oh, Alice's?
It was
Well,
big
Alice's
and red.
family car, her dad's
Right.
car.
Yeah, no, it was
Ford?
it was a station wagon.
The reason I know this is because I have PTSD over this car.
It was big red. It was like a big red car.
No, that's Dan's. Dan had a big truck.
Yeah,
The
he had a
red truck.
It wasn't a truck.
It wasn't red. No, her car.
I'm trying to remember.
It was a
the car.
Dodge station wagon.
It was a Volvo station wagon, white.
Ah,
The reason
yes.
why I have PTSD is all throughout high school, I had to drive a lime green Volvo station wagon.
You
Oh,
look
well,
like
there
you
you
had a
go.
lime green
And,
car.
and my friends and I called it the tank, where we would turn the nozzle on the back of the station wagon so we could squirt joggers and bicyclists as we were driving by.
Ah, you fucking
And then-
little dicks.
And then, of course, any younger people listening don't listen to this next part, but my friends would surf on top of the car as I drove.
Teen Wolf.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, gotcha. All right. What TV show did Deb like to watch instead of doing homework?
Dynasty.
Dynasty. Well done.
And
don't know
I
what
love
that is.
Sheila's comment of Dynasty again.
Yep.
What's Dynasty?
It was a...
It was just like Falcon Crest.
or Dallas.
Yeah. What is Kincaid's first name? It was on his tombstone.
It's Ronald, I
Jason.
think.
Roland.
Roland.
I'm going to give you the point because that was close.
Thanks.
It was one of those blink and you miss it moments.
Yeah, but did you notice all of the tombstones were clumped together? You had Nancy and Donald and Kincaid and then Kristen.
Worse than that, Kristen died the day after, just basically the morning after, or whatever, the next day of Joey and Kincaid, right?
Uh-huh.
How did they have time to make the tombstones for the funeral?
That's a good question. That is a good question. All right. And then lastly, I will go with what test was Sheila doing when she died?
Wasn't it like calculus or
I'm going to
Trick.
give it to you because it was math.
they had 40 minutes to do it?
Yeah.
I did look that up.
Yeah. So, all right. We'll give the win to Elyse.
Yeah. I always win.
Once again, I'm all alone. Feels like the end.
In 1988, a year after the events of the previous film, Kristen, Kincaid, and Joey have returned to their normal lives after being released from the Weston Hills Psychiatric Hospital. Kristen, however, continues to suffer from nightmares and finds herself once again in Freddy Krueger's old boiler room. Alarmed, she instinctively pulls Kincaid and Joey into her dream. Though they're irritated and tired of living in fear, they assure her Freddy is gone for good. The next day, Kristen reconnects with her boyfriend, martial arts enthusiast Rick Johnson, and his friends, Rick's reserved sister Alice, the brilliant but asthmatic Sheila, and Debbie, a tough, athletic girl with a deep fear of bugs. While Kristen is now well-liked at school, Kincaid and Joey remain social outsiders. Tensions grow when they confront Kristen, warning her not to drag them back into Freddy's world. But that night, Kincaid falls asleep and wakes up in a dreamscape junkyard where Freddy is inadvertently resurrected. Despite putting up a fight, Kincaid is killed, unable to wake himself or summon help. Later, Joey dozes off while watching TV and dreaming of a woman in his waterbed until she transforms into Freddy and pulls him into a watery death. Kristen, devastated by the news of their deaths, becomes convinced Freddy is back and targeting the last of the Elm Street children. That evening, she discovers her mother has secretly laced her dinner with sleeping pills to force her to rest. Unable to stay awake, Kristen is drawn into the dream world. Freddy confronts her and manipulates her into pulling someone new into their dream, Alice. Freddy kills Kristen in his boiler room, but not before she passes her unique dream power to Alice. Rick and Alice arrive at Kristen's home only to find her bedroom engulfed in flames. So this movie opens up and we are in a dream sequence and we are reintroduced to Kristen. She is our survivor from part 3, and we know that, according to her dream power, she can pull people into her dreams, and she's acrobatic. You remember that bit?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
She knows Jim Cotta.
yeah, we're just kind of setting the stage for this. What did you guys think of this whole dream sequence, this opening?
I was confused. Are all the kids in the Dreamland, are they like kids that Freddy's actually killed, or are they just kids?
That is, what do you mean?
Well, because there are all the little girls that are like singing. Are they, well, and then I was confused. Are they one supposed to be her? Are they just supposed to be these random children, or are these kids that Freddy's killed?
I would take
How did they get there?
I would take it as they were probably, in some instances, little versions of themselves, or they could have been the victims. I think that they're in there because we need to see little kids to be reminded that Freddy is a child killer.
I always figured Freddy sets up these dream worlds and all the little kids in it are just projections that he is putting in there of probably kills he's had.
Probably.
Of some of his favorite little kid murders.
And it's not the first time Kristen has met a little girl in her dream and followed her in to the fucking house.
I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I read that the little girl in the beginning of this movie is the same little girl from number 3.
I wondered if she looked familiar.
Yeah.
I was trying to put that together. So
Yeah, she's the first time that they brought in one of the little girls and put into 2 movies.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Now, I have a theory, and it goes back to my number 2 theory about Freddy feeding off of fear. Fear is what gives him his power. I think Joey and Kincaid were 100% right. By her keep going and trying to find him and looking for him and bringing that fear into the dreams, she fed him enough energy to come back.
Oh, I agree with you 100%.
She fucked it all up.
She goes into this house because it's not like she didn't learn from the last time.
Yeah, don't fucking go into the house.
But I will have to say, this set piece and this sequence I actually really enjoyed, because not only does the opening give us the nursery rhyme, the Nightmare on Elm Street theme, and the house and her crawling up the wall, it's paying tribute and bringing back everything that we love as an Elm Street fan, at least in my mind. And what I really enjoy about this is, so she's in the house, she's looking around, and then she's looking out the window.
Well, there's that shadow at first.
And she gets blown into the boiler room. I thought that was a great effect. And I liked how the boiler room looked with all the chains, and it felt cold. And in that moment, I knew Freddy wasn't there, but he could be lurking around, right? What do you think?
I thought it was good. My biggest issue, I think, for the whole intro and all 3 of the first kills, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever that Kristen, Joey, and Kincaid were still allowed to talk.
What do you mean?
If you look it up, most times once you get out of the psychiatric ward, you're not supposed to talk to people you've met in there.
Can we just chalk it up to shitty parents?
Which is the whole motif of this entire series.
Yeah.
And this absolutely reinforces it.
Well, but then, I mean, this whole thing wouldn't have happened.
Well, he would have still hunted them one by one, just like he did. He wanted revenge on the final 3 Elm Street children.
Yeah. Well, he had to finish his job.
Yeah.
Right. That's what he was doing. And so they're in the dream, and Joey and Kincaid show up.
They get pulled in by Kristen.
And Joey's like, have you ever thought that if you keep coming in, you're going to stir them up? And Kincaid's pissed, right? He's like, we don't need this. We did our time, right? And Joey makes her touch the boiler. It's cold. And then we get
Jason.
Kincaid's dog comes out and bites Kristen, and they all wake up, and it's one of those moments. So now we're in the real world. My thought was watching it. Did you see the gash on her arm?
It was a huge gash, and she just grabs like a shirt or something and then wraps it around her arm, and she's good to go.
Just goes to sleep.
Yeah, that was my thought. She's sitting there bleeding to death.
Yeah, that's crazy. You know what? I'm not going to ask you because you can't get over the fact that they're friends.
No, I can't. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, yeah, I know you said that already.
If Dawn and I had to fight Freddy Krueger and we won and we're worried that Freddy might come back, I'm still probably going to talk to Dawn.
You wouldn't be able to get his contact information.
Oh,
they live in the same town. They probably
were
are next
Elm
door
Street
neighbors.
kids.
Oh, okay.
Their parents torched a fucking maniac together. What are you doing tonight, Jill? Oh, I don't know. Bob and I were thinking about moseying on over down to the school's boiler room with the Thompsons. What are you guys doing? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
You grab the matches, I'll grab the alcohol.
Yeah, let's fucking go. Let's end this fucker.
I hate both of you.
And so the next day, Kristen is driving to Alice's house, and now we're going to start to be introduced to the new group of kids. What do you think of Alice, Rick, and Dad's home life?
Well, I thought Lisa Wilcox did a great job of just coming out as this meek, quiet character. You can see the father's kind of an asshole.
Yeah. I like how rambunctious Rick is. Mm-hmm. He's full of life, and he brings a positive energy to Kristen, who I think needs it. And then we are at school, and we meet even more of our characters. You got Deb, who is the workout junkie and afraid of bugs, and Sheila, who is the brains.
With asthma and drives a smoky Vespa or whatever it is.
Yes. And so while they're at school, Kristen's in her locker, and then Joey and Kincaid show up.
Pissed off.
Yeah. And I like this bit because it brings our dream warriors back together. And I like how Joey's like, you got to quit this. We all have better things to dream about. And then Rick shows up, and Kincaid makes a snide remark. Maybe your boyfriend can give you a good night's sleep. And they have a little back and forth. But when they're leaving, I like how Joey says, look, we'll help you. Because he knows, And then Rick tries to make Kristen feel better, and we get that Freddy slash across the lockers. I thought was, okay.
I just kept getting the impression of, again, Freddy is present. He's there, but he can't make contact. He can't do anything because he doesn't have enough power.
Oh, yeah. No, this is definitely a buildup. Mm-hmm. I mean, we know Freddy's coming back. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
And then so we cut to Kincaid, and this is the jumping off point to what I think is complete horseshit and very disrespectful to these 3 characters.
I feel they killed them off way too quick. Is that where you're going?
Yeah, too quick. And they were the Dream Warriors who had powers, right? And Kincaid moves a car, whoop-de-doo, Basil, but still is dispatched pretty quick. I did like, however, them going back to the junkyard and
creating the junkyard world. I thought that was a cool special effect. I saw that behind the scenes of them making that. It's a really cool look.
Yeah, it really is. What did you think of this bit, the junkyard bit?
It was just, like you said, it was too easy. I mean, he didn't put up much of a fight at all. I kept thinking, all these cars are flying down in front of him, blocking his way. This guy's got super strength. Couldn't he just pick the cars up and throw them back out of the way?
And with super strength, don't you get like super legs? Couldn't you just jump over shit like the Hulk does?
You think?
Well,
but I do like he talked some sass back to Freddy. And,
that was his character. I expected it.
This scene does have one of my favorite Freddy comebacks. When basically, he stabs Kincaid and he says, "I'll see you in hell." And what does Freddy say?
Tell him Freddy sent you.
That's one of my favorites.
What'd you think of his resurrection?
Freddy's?
Yeah.
I thought it was stupid.
Why?
The dog pees.
I know the dog pisses fire, but I mean, that was the point.
No, but I like if I feel bad for the dog. That had to hurt.
It was a dream.
No, but it's still like imagine peeing fire.
He was a hellhound.
That's gotta hurt. But that's gotta hurt.
All right, but the effect was pretty fucking cool.
It's a good effect, and it made sense. At least I thought, because in the 3 they buried him in a consecrated grave. You have to deconsecrate it. You have to basically do something offensive
You have to pee on it.
to basically have a hellhound pee fire on it, which is basically deconsecrating it, allowing Freddy to come back.
I don't like MTV Freddy very much.
And with Freddy's return, I thought the practical effects were great.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're doing something in reverse, but I still thought it looked good.
You can tell they had a $7 million budget throughout this movie.
Yeah, but at times I thought it paid off.
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree. I mean, I think the effects looked good. I think a lot of the effects still stood today.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it looked bad.
I like the liquid effects of the face filling in and the eyes popping back up. And
Yeah. And so Kincaid's in shock, Freddy's back, and from the get-go, we know that Freddy's going to be a talker.
Well, I wonder, and every time I see it, I always wonder why they went this way. And I'm guessing they must have dubbed in the line later. When Freddy is standing there, his mouth isn't moving, and he makes the comment, "You shouldn't have buried me. I'm not dead."
They do that twice.
But his mouth doesn't move, and I'm like, why is it like that?
It was just bad dubbing, I guess.
I don't like MTV Freddy.
Well, that's not MTV's Freddy's fault. It's the guys who put it together.
Well, but the whole writing of giving him so many more lines, he's less scary.
Oh,
Well, that's the point of where the series went.
yeah, and
It ruins a good character.
but he turned into a icon. So, I mean, he didn't ruin him that much.
The first 2 movies, they were still trying to make him a horror icon. By the 3rd movie, they were just trying to make him a pop culture icon. I actually enjoyed the Freddy of that version.
I noticed that he talks more in this film than he has in the previous films, and they're all kind of one-liners. And I didn't mind him. He's very menacing when he does it. But to me, he'll never be as scary as he was in the first one.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's the Freddy I prefer. I like this Freddy. Not my favorite Freddy, but I like this Freddy. He's just really jokey. And so he dispatches of Kincaid fairly quickly.
Well, one thing I just want to bring up real quick. Did you know that this is Robert Englund's favorite of the series? Because he likes this version of Freddy.
Oh, no, I didn't know that. He stabs Kincaid, and then immediately Kincaid wakes up and it looks like he's having a heart attack, which I appreciated.
No. I have the biggest issue with this. It doesn't make any sense. It's not congruent with the first movie. It's not congruent with the second movie. It's not congruent with the third movie. It doesn't make sense that after Freddy kills them in their dreams, there's no blood in real life. Because that doesn't explain what happened with Tina. It doesn't explain Johnny Depp. You see the mom open the door in Johnny Depp's room and it's covered in blood. You see all of the blood.
I can give you a
Where's
theory.
all the blood?
I can give you a theory on that. In the first 2 movies, even the 3rd movie, Freddy had a lot more power in the beginning. He could actually cause things happen in the real world. Maybe in this one, he doesn't have enough power yet. When he stabs someone, it doesn't show it in the real world. It just kills him. Because the whole movie is built on the premise, you die in your dreams, you die in real life. Maybe he couldn't, at this point, cut them in real life.
If this is something that keeps you from enjoying the movie, then I just feel bad for you.
It did.
I think it makes sense. I think that this kid had a heart attack, and in the
His
dream
heart
he
exploded,
got in the dream he got killed by Freddy. What I will agree with both of you on is this next kill. We cut to Joey. He's very reminiscent to the Johnny Depp setup, sitting in bed watching TV with his headphones on.
I do actually, this kill, I thought was brilliantly done, except for, I know how you guys don't like him end up floating inside the thing, but if he was going to kill a kid with freaking powers of voice, like Black Bolt, he can scream and hurt you, what better way to stop that, to counterbalance that, than to keep his head underwater where he can't scream?
Yeah, great fucking idea, but when it's over, doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but we got boobs.
Yes.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yes, we did.
It's
We
so
got
annoying.
boobs. What?
I think it's stupid that boobs are in every horror movie.
Okay, well, again, 1988, little
No,
one.
but still, it shouldn't have been accepted. It
But
still shouldn't be accepted. It's because they still do it. It's
Should have,
stupid.
would have, could have always adds up to what?
What did it add to the story at all? What did it add to the story at all?
Boobs.
So the girl who's on the poster is in Joey's waterbed, and I mean, this poor kid, right? That's his weakness.
That's what I'm thinking. Even if he had survived this, I think he would have gone gay afterwards.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. But Freddy
I don't think
drowns
you can
him.
Go gay.
I don't know. The guy had so many bad run-ins with topless women. I think he would have had.
Yeah, this
some
poor
issues.
Joey, right?
Every one of them turned out to be Freddy.
Yeah. And the counter to your argument is when Joey comes up for air, he can scream.
Yeah,
But they didn't give them any powers. They didn't recognize it. They didn't respect it. And so Joey's death, tragic, though, okay, I guess. That's one of the first ones in this film where I got to scratch my head. But they did it for the visual and the shock of it when mom opens up the bed and sees her son there. And then we cut to Kristen at home because she's staying awake because she doesn't want to dream.
Yeah.
And then the next day at school, Kristen and Alice meet up, and Kristen says, "Have you seen Joey or Kincaid? They're not here. No, everything is fine. Kristen, you're going crazy." They go to class. Joey and Kincaid aren't there.
Did this movie make you want to smoke with all the cigarettes and the smoking in this?
Every movie makes me want to smoke,
Okay.
but thanks. Yeah. Don't look at me like that.
Were they not the longest? Like, were they Virginia Slims or something?
They might have been. They were pretty long.
Ass thin cigarettes.
But I want to know when Alice does it in the mirror after, where did she get them? Did she not realize she bought them?
That's what I wrote down. She goes, "I don't smoke." And I was thinking, my first thought was, which I wrote down, if she doesn't smoke, why'd she have a pack of cigarettes and matches?
Where'd you get it? So anyways, Kristen goes to class. Joey and Kincaid aren't there. She panics.
She freaks the fuck out.
Knocks herself out and wakes up in the nurse's office. What'd you think of Robert Englund being out of makeup, being the nurse?
At first, I thought it was just a really not pretty girl. And then I was like, oh my God, it's Robert Englund. And then I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. And then I like how they show you the actual nurse because I feel like they did like a really good job of like.
They did. Yeah. And did you notice the nurse and Freddy say the exact same line?
Yeah.
Yes.
I kept thinking she knocked herself out. She probably should know maybe I'm in the dream world. And this nurse looks a lot like an unburnt Freddy.
Well, I don't know if she knew it looked like an unburnt Freddy. It did to us.
Yeah.
Because this is our fourth movie
Not
with them.
even. I didn't register in my head.
Oh, well, there you go. We cut to the diner, and Alice is there, and we have seen her kind of have a crush on Dan.
Well, did you catch the name of the diner?
Yeah, it's Crave In.
Yeah, which I thought was what's one of many call-outs they have for Wes Craven in this movie. There was also a movie poster in Kincaid's bedroom. I can't remember the exact movie poster, but it was a Wes Craven movie.
Yeah. They showed a lot of love to Wes Craven, which I think is commendable. I like this bit because while they're at the diner, Dan comes in looking for Rick, Alice's brother, and then Rick and Kristen come in, and they have to leave with Alice. They have to go somewhere.
Well, there's also something that was introduced a little bit earlier about Alice, being sort of different than the other characters. All the characters are dealing with their dreams, whereas Alice keeps having daydreams. Like she's dreaming all the time.
Yeah, she's a daydreamer.
It's because she's a redhead.
And so that is kind of our hint, maybe a little bit of foreshadowing, that kind of is going to make her the master of dreams because she keeps having all these dreams.
And because she's the only redhead.
I like her theory.
Do you know she's a natural blonde?
I'm not shocked that she didn't, like, the red didn't look natural.
They made her, or at least she chose to, I don't know which one it is, they chose to have her go dark hair so that she didn't look just like Kristen.
And so I like this bit because they go to the house, they go to Nancy's house, and Kristen is absolutely convinced Freddy's on his way to
He
get
already
her.
killed her two friends.
Yeah. And Dan's like, what the fuck is going on? And Rick does a good job in telling the story.
Well, I like how he says, they just told us the whole story in the car. Were you not listening?
Yeah.
This movie made me feel like I was stupid. Because
Why?
I felt like everything was like being spoon-fed.
Well, they always have to do that for the people who are jumping in to the movie brand new.
I know, but
I don't know why you would jump into a movie in the
just-
fourth episode.
it
but
feels
whatever.
so like spoon-fed everything and all the exposition. They just tell you what's going on. I was I was like, I'm not stupid. I picked up on this.
But
they spoon feed you in 1,
I know.
2,
I know.
3,
Mm,
4,
yeah.
5, 6,
7.
and 7. And so while they're out the house, Kristen's mom shows up, and it's the same actress from the third movie, which I thought was a nice little callback as well.
Yeah, which was interesting because a lot of people just assumed she was killed off.
Yeah, no, that was in her dream where she got her head lopped off.
Why is the mom so mad?
Because she doesn't want Kristen at that house dredging up old memories. They went through therapy, remember? They dealt with it. Kristen's mom is a tennis mom.
Selfish bitch.
Yeah, and she plays it out right here because while they're having dinner, she's like, Kristen, you just got to fucking get over it. You're being such a little pouty little girl. And Kristen's like, bitch, 2 of my friends just died. You could be a little bit more compassionate, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Kristen starts to feel woozy, looks at the water, and you as the audience, or at least I did, I was like, that fucking little fuck, right? And while this is happening, mom, like all of the parents throughout this entire series, you just need to go to sleep, right? And
my first thought was they were the last 3 of the Elm Street kids, meaning all these other families have lost their kids. All these other kids have died under mysterious circumstances. You think she'd be a little more compassionate towards her own kid. Maybe start believing
No
her
way,
kid.
dude. Mom is in denial. She was so drunk that night. She doesn't remember torching Freddy. She just remembers going home with Mr. Thompson and Mr. Johnson.
I'm just thinking, even if she wasn't involved or anything, look how many kids have already died in that town.
Oh, you're preaching to the choir, guy. I get it. And we've already established it that she's a selfish bitch. And I love how Kristen calls her out on it. Her mom's like, we talked about this in therapy. And she says, no, mother, you just fucking murdered me.
Take that to therapy.
That's right. And I thought that was great. And now this kind of brings up my issue with Kristen. She's the last of the Elm Street kids. And she knows that Joey and Kincaid are dead. Okay. Did it occur to her to maybe try and find some hypnosil? Maybe reach out to Dr. Gordon? Maybe do something about it? Or just decided to wait there and wait for Freddy? Come on, Kristen. You beat Freddy Krueger. You helped beat Freddy Krueger.
Maybe she was just tired.
She was exhausted. She hasn't been sleeping.
That's like
if Freddy's coming after me and I survive a Nightmare on Elm Street 3, I'm at least looking up the fucking hypnosil, or I'm looking for Dr. Gordon to get me some fucking hypnosil.
No, you would have had a fucking drawer full of it ready.
How would she pay for it? How would she pay for it?
Her mom's rich.
I'll say her mom had a ton of money.
Right, but her mom has been proven is selfish and doesn't believe her. So why would the mom give her pills that would help her not
Because
dream?
if Kristen was smart, she would say, Mom, look, I know I've been fucking up, but this is really going to help me. I'll sleep. I'll be good. I'll quit smoking. Okay, maybe I won't quit smoking, but I'll be good. I'll get good grades. And I bet you mom would have been on board.
And what kid doesn't steal money out of their mom's purse?
I don't.
There you go. There's one.
I have my dad's credit card on my phone.
Oh. And so we cut to Kristen running upstairs.
I kept thinking, like I said about the drawer full of hypnosil, she's thinking Freddy's coming back. Throughout the entire movie, you think she'd be a little more prepared.
No, she wasn't prepared at all. In fact, as she was passing out, she tries to put on her jacket.
Yeah, but she also...
Where's she going?
But she starts to think about Alice in that Alice told her to think of somewhere nice, think of somewhere pleasant. So that's what she tries to do.
Because early on, Alice and Kristen have this conversation, and Alice mentions a rhyme that her mom used to tell her about dreaming, which, foreshadowing. But you're right. She tells Kristen, when you're having a bad dream, you got to go to your happy place. And so as Kristen's falling asleep, she remembers the words. And this is a great camera shot because it's an overhead and we're watching Kristen bounce around. And then when she falls and goes to sleep, we start twirling and we start pushing in and twirling at the same time. And boom, we are in dreamland.
And we're at the beach.
And there's this little girl building a sandcastle whose name is
Alice.
Yeah. And she says, that's funny. I have a friend named Alice.
Did you know that for that scene for Tuesday, they wanted, like, I think it was the producers wanted her in a really, really skimpy bathing suit. And she put her foot down. She says, there's no way in hell I'm putting on that thing.
Yeah, even in a dream, why would I be dressed like that?
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I heard that. Yeah, good for her. And she's laying on the beach, and then we see something in the water, and I don't know why they're trying to rip off Jaws. Freddy has nothing to do with Jaws, so I thought this was a bit corny.
Every time I see this scene, when that fin, that little claw fin hits the sand, I yell out every time, "Land shark!"
Yeah, there you go. And it turns out to be Freddy. And I mean, this might be probably the cheesiest part to Freddy that I think happens.
A lot of fans complain about this next scene.
Does he really have to put on the sunglasses?
Exactly. Well, Freddy in sunglasses is just not, that's MTV.
I get trying to antagonize your prey and get them really scared. And I think that's what his one-liner does and his talking is trying to do. But this bit is a bit much for me. This bit loses a point for me. So
yeah, at that point, I think that was where he crossed over.
Yeah. But however, he manages to get Kristen in the boiler room. And I like this exposition, even though they had to spoon feed it to me. I like how Kristen's like, I'm the last one. You just kill me.
It's over.
It's over, right? No more. And Freddy's like, no, wait, let's not go there. Because why don't you reach out and call one of your buddies? And Kristen's like, no. And we cut to Alice and she's having a nightmare and we're like, oh, fuck, right? And voila, Alice shows up.
Yeah, welcome to Wonderland, Alice.
And so Kristen rushes Freddy. You think she would be a little bit more prepared.
Well, you think she could do her gymkata.
Or something, right?
Do some backflips as she's going at him.
But no. And then as Freddy's picking her up, he makes her a promise. Now no one sleeps. He throws her into a liquid fire and she starts to burn alive. And she knows that Alice is there and Freddy is there. And she tells Alice, you're going to need my power. And what I think she meant by that was, you're going to need my power to have to face this fucker. Because for some reason, I just let him throw me into the fucking fire.
I kept thinking, you're going to need my power to bring more people into the dreams that he can kill. I mean, what was the point of that?
Well, yeah, no, that's you play dumb games, right? But Alice now has Kristen's powers and her ability to bring people into her dream. Mm-hmm. And so immediately Alice wakes up. She freaks out. Rick comes in and says, what's going on? And she notices a picture on her mirror, which starts the unraveling of all the pictures on her mirror, thus showing Alice is starting to expose herself.
Yeah. They rush to Kristen's house.
And again, plausible. Kristen could have been smoking in bed.
That was my thought.
And that's how she burns alive.
I'm fine. But then that doesn't make any sense. Why is she on fire in her bed? Like, yeah, it could be a cigarette, but then why is there no blood when the other two are killed? It doesn't make any sense.
Because Freddy's more powerful now.
But no, but it's still just...
Well, yes, he is more powerful, but Kristen actually has the physical cigarette, which lights her up. That's how I took it. Anyways, they open the door, and Kristen is dead. And so are the last of the Elm Street kids and our beloved Dream Warriors. Moment of silence.
Okay, what is it tonight? Please just tell me what the hell is wrong. Do you want to eat? Do you want to sleep? Do you want to drown? Just settle down, settle down.
Alice begins to experience strange changes in vivid dreams. While drifting off in class, she unknowingly brings Sheila into her nightmare. Freddy exploits the situation, suffocating Sheila and making it appear as though she died from an asthma attack. Rick, now shaken by Kristen and Sheila's death, begins to believe Alice's warnings, but before they can act, Rick falls asleep and is attacked by an invisible Freddy in a surreal martial arts dojo. He's fatally wounded and further isolating Alice. With each friend's death, Alice begins absorbing pieces of their personalities and abilities, becoming stronger, more confident, and increasingly aware of her dream powers. Freddy's next target is Debbie, whom he traps in a dream and grotesquely transforms into a cockroach. He crushes her in a roach motel, eliminating another potential threat. Alice, growing desperate, tries to stop Freddy with help from her friend and love interest Dan Jordan. However, Freddy traps them in a time loop dream, preventing Alice from reaching Debbie in time. In the real world, Alice crashes her car while trying to escape the loop, and Dan is critically injured and rushed into surgery.
So the next day at school, we notice that Alice's hair has changed a little bit, and she has a bit more of a plucky spirit, if you will. Or a little bit more of a, she's more outgoing. She's not as quiet as she has been. At least I
A
thought.
little more outspoken. Yeah.
Can I make an observation?
Sure.
I liked Debbie and Sheila's friendship. I think Sheila had a crush on Debbie.
It very well could be.
They had a little bit of a.
I thought
it was cute though.
That Sheila is picked on because we see at the beginning she's kind of the picked on nerd, whereas Debbie is the one who basically caught her back and protects her.
Which would probably allow Sheila to have those feelings towards Deb.
I felt
it's
like
quite
I
possible.
thought it was cute because it kind of breaks the at least in my head, it makes the characters less like tropey because they are very like stereotyped of like she's the nerd, she's the jock.
Oh yeah, this
It
is
was
1988
I know.
slasher horror
So it
movie.
was super
This is textbook.
So
but
what she's,
by adding that, you go.
I'll say, so what she's basically saying is they could have made a pretty good porn parody out of this.
It's not what I was gonna say. I was gonna say by adding that they could have added depth to the characters, making their deaths a little bit more sad. But I was really sad about Sheila's death.
Well, and so here's
She was
the
the
thing.
only death I cared about in this.
Oh my gosh. So, well, I don't agree with that because
should.
outside of the Dream Warriors, even though they gave us like 2 seconds of screen time, I really liked this band of new kids. And I really like Rick. I like Dan. I like Debbie. I really like Sheila. And their deaths fucking sucked for me. And I bought it.
I will agree with you. Their deaths sucked. I thought that at least for Sheila and Debbie, they had good interactions with Freddy in their deaths. I mean, it was done well.
Sheila
Dan's-
just said no.
Rick's death in this movie, from what I can recall of other movies, is the worst Freddy kill throughout the whole series. And there's reasons for it, but they shouldn't even just have done it at all the way they did it.
So the next day at school, Alice and Sheila are in the bathroom. And this is where Alice gets the cigarette. And her and Sheila are talking. And Alice assumes that the bags under Sheila's eyes are because she was having bad dreams as well.
But it's also a callback to exactly what Kristen had said to her. It's the same line.
Right.
We have the same bags.
Yeah. And she had already talked to Rick saying that I was there. This is Freddy. And I like how Rick says, Kristen wasn't crazy. Neither are you. And he's believing, or he isn't dismissing their theory.
No brother would do that.
I thought it was more of everyone was saying what Kristen was crazy and all this stuff. He didn't want Alice to be just like that. So he's like, you know what? I don't want to go there because I don't believe what she was saying. I don't believe what you're saying. And let's just not believe this.
Yeah, maybe. And so they're in class and it's time for their big math test. And they both must fall asleep because...
Well, they built up that Sheila's exhausted from studying, so she nods off.
Agreed.
And
yeah.
I hate
Agreed.
that.
And Alice was up all night, so she...
Yeah.
I
No,
thought
agree.
that was stupid that Sheila fell asleep while taking her test. If
She was up all night
I know, but if there
cramming.
was one thing that I could change about that move, not even one thing, but if there was one thing I could change about this scene specifically, I would have Sheila turn her test in because there's no way she stayed up and studied for this test. She's nervous for this test. And then she falls asleep taking it. When was the, okay, well, you guys are old. I'm just saying, guess you guys probably don't remember. When was the last time you had to take a really important test?
I fell asleep in class all the time.
Okay, but taking a test?
Okay, it doesn't matter.
The real reason she fell asleep is exactly what Dawn always says. It was in the script that way.
I know, but
they
it's
needed
just-
her to fall asleep
I know.
so Freddy could kill her.
But it's so stupid because it builds Sheila's character up. Her entire thing is that she's super smart and that like school matters a lot to her. There's no way that you would fall asleep taking a test.
If you have asthma, your brain is usually deprived of oxygen. It makes it much easier to fall asleep.
Well, but still, I think it's stupid because
So-
it takes.
No,
away,
well,
it's
you know
like
what?
an
You know
important-
what? You know what's stupid about this scene?
What?
That fucking robot arm. Why? Why does
Yeah.
the robot arm coming out of the desk?
That was pretty dumb.
That was
But
stupid.
I figured it was because she builds
Oh
mechanical
no,
things. And all
I
that,
get
but
that, but it was just fucking dumb.
It should have just been Freddy's.
Well, okay, but then at the same time, I thought he was like, "You want to suck face?" She said no.
He's just
consent.
He's just trying to freak her out.
Do you think he cares about consent?
Well,
he's
no,
Freddy
he's-
fucking Krueger.
He's a child toucher, so he clearly doesn't care about consent.
We don't.
But
They never
Thi-
say
this,
that.
This Freddy, we don't know
Okay,
if he's
okay,
a title
fine.
toucher.
No.
I don't
He's
know
a
if that
child
makes it.
murderer.
Well, okay, so there you go. Just be accurate. That's all I'm saying. Robot hand drives me nuts.
Yeah, that
Every fucking time.
It was dumb. It wasn't scary looking, and the way it grabbed her face, it didn't even look like it had a hold of her face. Like she just could have moved her head back.
I think if we got rid of this bit and just cut to Freddy slicing the apple, which I thought was great, and him walking up to her and saying, "You want to suck face?" Not getting consent, and then the effect I thought still holds up. I like the effect. I like how he kills her.
the only thing about the
As
effect,
bad as that sounds. And when she wakes up, she had an asthma attack, so it makes sense.
it makes sense. The only thing about the effect that was weird to me is the blow up or the doll that they got to be her is the wrong skin color. You watch her skin get darker, but it just, if to me, it threw it off because I was like, she's not that dark.
He sucked the color out of her.
Yeah.
Well, no, but that
and
would
it
be
looked
the
clear, and it
opposite.
clearly looked like a puppet. So
Well,
I
yeah,
mean,
but I mean, it was the opposite. If anything, they should have made it lighter than her natural skin tone.
When you watch one of these movies, you have to take a lot of things with a grain of salt.
no, I know, but I'm just
It's not meant to be, the most realistic thing ever.
and so Sheila dies, and immediately Alice gets her power, and she starts freaking out in class.
And she steals from Sheila's dead body.
Well, she borrowed it
Yeah.
because Sheila had made a bug zapper type thing for Deb. And we cut to outside, and Deb's like,
Who the
what
fuck
seven
died?
what 17-year-old has fatal asthma, right? And there's a lot of questions,
quite a lot.
and not in 1988.
This is a turning point too, because this is where Rick basically says, we got to deal with Freddy. I mean, he now believes in Freddy.
Yeah, because Alice goes off about it, and Deb's like, I don't want to hear that crap. And Dan's like, maybe Kristen's story's really getting to her. And Rick's like, this might not be a fucking story, dude. We might all be in some fucking trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And then we cut to the next day, and they're in gym class. And Dan and this kid are talking, and we see Rick kind of walking by, and he looks zombified. And someone makes a comment about Kristen and Alice, and Dan comes to the rescue. I thought this was pretty chivalrous of Dan. By the looks of him, he's a jock, and I think you would assume that he's an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the movies, in those times, the jocks were typically the assholes. But he's not. He's actually turning out to be a good dude.
And one of the things that I don't think I realized at first, it's kind of hinted at throughout the movie. Dan just got into town. He just moved there. So these are all brand new friends for him.
Yeah, no, he gives us that line when he's waiting for Alice.
Yeah.
We cut to class, and this is where Bob Shea has his cameo, and Alice is in class nodding off.
This is where he talks about the two gates as well.
Right, and what the Dream Master is. But we see her nodding off, so I'm assuming this is in the dream. And we also cut to Rick, who was in the locker room, and he tells Dan, shit may be going crazy here in a minute, so if I'm next, watch your back. And then naturally he goes to take a shit.
Yeah, if you're exhausted and tired, you want to go take a shit, but it makes sense. You might fall asleep. I mean, you've fallen asleep on the toilet before, correct?
Once or twice.
Yeah, I've fallen asleep all over. I've fallen asleep in crazy places, including the toilet.
Well, there you go.
The toilet's like a war zone. Can't poop on, can't fall asleep on war.
And so this brings us to what I think and what you think, John, is probably the worst death of the entire series. We have yet to get to 5 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
I think there might be 1 and 6 that's equally as stupid. But this one, for the books, is horrible because they spent this time making me like Rick, and then they just dispatch of him like it was nothing.
Well, the way they started out this whole scene, I thought it was a good start. The whole idea of the cheerleaders coming into the stall, I mean, that seems like any kind of nightmare a kid that age might have. And then it turns into he's in an elevator. And the original plan for this scene was it was supposed to have some weird elevator effect and he was going to fall into like a black hole or something. All these special effects were supposed to happen. They didn't have the money. In fact, they were running out of money. So they didn't even have the money to basically put Freddy in the fight scene with him, fighting him martial arts style. So they decided, let's just make him invisible and save some fucking money.
I have a big issue with that because, well, Freddy is vindictive and he just killed his girlfriend and all of his girlfriend's friends and he's going after his little sister and you can't even show your face. That makes Freddy seem more cowardly because you don't see him. But because my dad says, like, in theory, if you can't see what you're supposed to be scared of, your brain makes it worse. But we know what Freddy looks like. We know who he is. It doesn't make him more scary. It makes him seem more cowardly. Because why would you not just fight Rick face to face?
I love that Rick was a man about it and said, come on, fight me face to face, bud.
Well, Freddy's not supposed to have high moral values. He's a scaredy cat little dick. But you should never have a Nightmare on Elm Street Freddy Krueger film that Freddy makes a kill, that Freddy's not in the kill. He's not there seen making the kill.
Yeah, and this bit lets me down every single time I watch it, and I don't like it. But we got to move the story along, and Rick is killed, Alice gets his power, and this kind of leads to another moment that doesn't make any sense. She screams super loud, and then the windows in the classroom blow out.
Apparently, that's her getting more like her power.
Her
like,
force power coming in, something
it kind
like
of
that.
felt like Highlander to me.
Oh,
There can be only one.
Sure, there you go.
But this leads into one of the next scenes that really made me not like Dan, or at least his character or the lines they wrote for him, because we go to the funeral scene for Rick.
And at the funeral, Alice is having another daydream. And when I first saw this, when Rick gets out of the coffin and says, oh, it was just a plan to fake Freddy, I wished it was true. I really did. But she says no more daydreaming. She gets back into the coffin and, well, he's dead. And so Alice looks to Dan and Debbie saying, all right, we got to make a plan because this shit's about to get real.
Well, right before that, Dan comes up, puts his hand on Alice's shoulder and says, are you okay?
Why is that a stupid...
Because of course she's not okay. Her friends are all dying and her brother just died and is in the coffin. You don't ask somebody at a funeral, especially when it's their loved one in the coffin, are you okay?
Yes, you do.
That's horrible writing.
I would.
No, because they're not going to be okay. Their answer is going to be, no, I'm not okay.
No, but it opens up the conversation to allow her to say, I'm not okay,
No,
and reach out for
You
help.
can say,
Yeah, no, you're wrong
is there
about
anything I can do? You know, I'm so sorry, something like that.
But
you
they're
don't
also-
ask someone, are they okay?
But they're also teenagers.
You
I mean,
know
they're-
the answer.
Well, I'm going to chalk it up to that. They're teenagers.
Yeah.
So I'll just say this. I'm glad you're not writing any Nightmare on Elm Street
I
movies.
thought that was
How about
sloppy
that?
writing for that.
So, and this is also the bit where Alice says one of Sheila's lines, and Debbie's like,
Mind over matter, I think is what it was.
yeah. And Debbie's like, she changes every single day. And Dan says, no, after every death, a moment of spoon feeding us, the audience. But I didn't mind it. I thought it was good.
I like Dan.
Yeah, Dan's okay. Dan's okay.
I think Dan is a good counterpart for Alice.
Yeah. And then it's at night and they're going to get ready and go meet at Deb's, and Alice tries to leave, but Dad's like, no, you're not going anywhere.
This is where he wants to be dad.
Well, he's fucking hammered
He's
and he just
hammered.
lost his son. So come on. And she says, okay, I'll stay. And then she goes upstairs and, well, she falls asleep. And this brings us to one of my favorite sequences in this fuck.
The Groundhog's Day?
No. She falls asleep. She's in the dream and she walks to this theater.
Oh, yes.
And I like this bit because it's really subtle and it's very dreamlike and you can feel it. You know she's dreaming. And she buys a ticket. She goes inside. She gets her popcorn and soda and she sits and she watches the movie. She's watching the movie and then she starts to get sucked into the movie. And then the camera turns and she's falling and she falls into the movie where she is at the Craven Diner and she's facing her worst nightmare. Because her worst nightmare is she doesn't want to be stuck in that diner for the rest of her life.
One of the things that I liked, at least they did with this movie, is incorporating the themes of Alice in Wonderland and Alice Through the Looking Glass. And specifically, this scene was supposed to represent Alice going through the looking glass and entering that dream. I mean, there are so many other call outs in this movie, you know, being the dual realities, a loss of control, identity and transformation, you know, personal empowerment and symbolism, all those different things from Alice Through the Looking Glass. I thought that they did a good job of working it into this movie.
And while at the diner, Freddy comes to visit her. And if you're thinking, why doesn't Freddy just kill her? Well, because Freddy needs her.
Yeah, he's trying to use her.
And he tells her, he says, you know, bring me more. And he shows Alice the pizza. And I thought this was a good effect. And I thought it was and he's antagonizing her. But the bit where he has Rick's head on his claw, the meatball puppet, yeah, really fucking hokey.
I laugh at this scene every time when Rick is yelling, no, no, Alice, no, no. And Freddy sticks his claw at him and he just all of a sudden derps him. He's like, "Arr!"
Yeah. Yeah.
Just that sound he makes or whatever it is. It makes me laugh every time.
And Freddy's like, bring me more. And then some doors open or whatever. And we see Deb. And then Freddy says, that's all. And he wakes Alice up. And now he has set his sights on Debbie.
Yes, and we get that Sinead O'Connor music with the Buffalo Stance Girl, isn't it? The rap.
Nina Cherry?
Nina Cherry. Was she doing it with her?
I don't know. I
thought it was Nina Cherry.
It's just labeled as Sinead O'Connor.
Yeah.
So, but it probably, I guess it does sound like her. Mm-hmm. And so we cut to Dan. He's waiting for Alice. And this is where we get his line of all the towns I had to move to, I moved to this crazy one or whatever.
Murderville or something like that.
Yeah. And this starts the loop. And this is probably the last of my what the fuck moments.
Yeah. And I remember when I first saw this in the theater, I kept thinking, why do they keep repeating this over and over? Because I hadn't caught that they were asleep. I thought she had just snuck out. And so I thought, this is awfully weird.
Yeah. And they're caught in a loop. And she runs around and she tells Dan, we got to get to Debbie. And I'm driving. And they take off. And we cut to Debbie, who's working out, and she's paid a visit by the man. And this leads us to what I think is one of the best deaths in any horror movie. This transformation from Debbie into a cockroach, the practicals are fucking beautiful.
The first time I saw it, when her arms bust the way they do, that was my oh fuck moment.
You're like, ow, fuck.
It's so gross.
So good.
And then she just stands up and they flop around. I loved watching the behind the scenes of this.
Oh, yeah.
And how much fun that actress had with this whole scene.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we cut back to Dan and Alice is running around the corner. We got to get to Debbie. Hurry, I'm driving. And they take off. And then we cut back to Debbie and a little bit more transformations happening. She has her arms are now insect arms, but now she's in a roach motel and she's getting sticky feet. Freddy's laughing. We cut back to Alice and Dan. Oh, we got to get to Debbie's house. I'm driving.
Did you notice every time they flashed back to him, they showed a little, like them getting a little bit farther each time to like one of the last times they're actually at Debbie's house when then they appear again back at the diner.
And so this time in the loop, Dan's like, wait a minute, we've done this before.
I think we've done this before.
And Alice is like, oh, fuck, we're in a fucking dream. And so I have to ask myself, did they fall asleep at the wheel, both of them? They had to have, right? Because when she runs around the first time, that's in the real world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so as they're driving to Debbie's, they must have nodded off. And then Freddy caught him, put him in a loop. And then that's how we get to where we're at.
Yeah. They could have decided to take a nap together.
It's a bit thin, but we'll go with it. And so we cut back to Debbie, and this is the final bit for her. The part that I like the best and kind of makes me go, oh, Jesus, is when she falls face first into the goop. And as she's trying to resist, or as she's trying to get up, the goop is pulling her face off to reveal the cockroach face. I thought it was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. If you watch the behind the scenes of that, of this poor actress having to put her face in that goop, she says it was, at the same time, it was so much fun, but so horrible.
Yeah. I buy it. And so we cut to a larger Freddy holding the Roach Motel, squeezes her, kills Debbie. Alice gets her power.
What'd you think of the goop coming out of the Roach Motel?
Oh, it was a bow to a very gross type of present. I loved it. And so Alice gets Debbie's power, and they see Freddy on the road, and Alice is like, I'm going to hit this motherfucker. But it wasn't Freddy. It was a fucking tree. And so, yeah, here we go.
As Dan undergoes surgery, Alice enters the dream world to rescue him. She reaches him, but he's injured within the dream, which causes him to bleed in real life. Doctors wake him up just in time, leaving Alice to face Freddy on her own. Armed with the strength of her fallen friends and newfound sense of resolve, she confronts Freddy in a climactic battle. At first, Freddy appears too powerful to defeat, but Alice recalls a childhood rhyme about the Dream Master, a guardian who can defeat evil by making it face its own reflection. Using this knowledge, Alice forces Freddy to see himself in the mirror. The countless souls of his victims trapped inside of him revolt against their captor. Overwhelmed and unable to contain the chaos within, Freddy is torn apart from the inside. The souls are released and Freddy is reduced to a hollow, lifeless husk. Months later, Alice and Dan are enjoying a quiet date. As Dan tosses a coin into the fountain, Alice catches a glimpse of Freddy's reflection in the water. She pauses, but chooses to smile and walk away, refusing to let fear rule her life. Roll credits.
And so we, Alice and Dan get into this car accident, and the ambulance comes, and she won't let them put him under because she knows that if he goes to sleep, Freddy's coming after him.
He's allergic. Why didn't you tell us that?
That was kind of smart thinking, right? And so they get to the hospital. Dan's parents are there. Alice's dad's there. They're freaking out. And Alice asks how long before he goes into surgery. And the doctor says 15 minutes. And so now we get a montage.
I like the hospital scene. I like the lighting of it.
There's a lot of green
But I
lighting
liked it.
in this film. Yeah. Alice gets home and she suits up. And as she's getting ready, she's taking down more and more of her pictures to expose the mirror. She starts messing with Rick's nunchucks. And this bit always makes me laugh because the close-up of Lisa Wilcox's face is in the mirror and we see her. And then when we cut to behind her as she's throwing the nunchucks around, that has to be the worst wig I've ever seen in my life.
I kept thinking the body shape and everything looked like a guy in a wig.
Yeah. But it did play the Dramarama song, so I like that as well. And so she gets ready, and she has Deb's bracelet. She has Sheila's bug zapper. She has Rick's nunchucks and his headband thing. And so she takes a bunch of pills. I love how every time someone gears up to go fight Freddy, they got to take sleeping pills. Mm-hmm. Are you telling me you're still not tired? But whatever.
The subconscious.
And so Alice takes the sleeping pills. She falls asleep, and
she goes through the looking glass. We
cut to Dan, who's about to go under surgery, and it turns out that Freddy is the surgeon, and his line of, well, it ain't Dr. Seuss. Come on, Freddy. Come on, bud.
I thought again, maybe it's because she's in the dream world, but when she jumped and went to, drop kick the mirror,
Mhm.
That was one of the worst practical effect looking sideways, whatever it was going through that mirror.
It's a bit hokey,
Yeah.
but it got her through the looking glass.
But it's also different gravity, different world, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. And so she makes it into the hospital. She saves Dan, and now they start to escape.
Well, the thing that bothered me is that in the real world, while the doctor's working on Dan, he starts to hemorrhage. And their first thing is, we need to wake him up. We need to bring him around. And I'm thinking, wouldn't a doctor do the opposite? Wouldn't you keep him asleep until you fix the hemorrhage?
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
I just thought that's weird. Like, the first thing you do when you see someone hemorrhaging is wake him up.
Don't you pump them full of I could be wrong, but aren't you because in Grey's Anatomy, when they're when they're hemorrhaging, they fill them with adrenaline.
Oh, I guess adrenaline would wake you up.
Yeah.
Because it puts your body into shock and it stops. Then all your blood rushes.
Okay.
Boom.
But either way,
Doctored.
they wake
Grey's
him
Anatomy.
up, which causes him to fade out. Which I kept thinking, does Alice think that he died, or she didn't absorb him, so she must think he's still alive or something. But anyway, he's out of the fight, so it sets up for Freddy versus Alice.
Right. And they are in this church, and I like this fight. I thought Alice held her own. She's not afraid of him. And
It's very Neo Matrix like. She's also now she's got all these karate abilities, and she can jump on the back of the things, no problem. Balance is perfect.
well, she just got good balance. His
She's
dream.
accepted her
I
dream.
have great balance in my dreams.
I don't
So-
believe you.
There you go.
I don't believe you.
Well, thank you.
He's
very
got
little.
He's got great balance in my dreams.
Yeah. And so they have their showdown, and this leads to my second favorite way that Freddy dies, but my least way that Freddy dies.
I think.
And let me explain.
Okay. I think the special effects of the way he dies is one of the best out of the series.
And that's basically where I was going. But the fact that just to show him his reflection, well,
Dumb.
I thought it was partly an incantation from the Dream Master doing something with the mirror that helped him see this evil. And it basically strengthened the souls of the children inside of him to be able to fight back.
it has to. And if she's the Dream Master, then she's wielding that power to have that much
Mojo.
damage from the reflection, right?
Yeah.
Because this bit where the souls come out and rip Freddy apart, I thought was outstanding. I thought that the practical effects were amazing. They shot it really well.
Did you ever see the behind the scenes of
Oh,
how they
yeah,
shot that?
absolutely.
Where they built like a 12-foot tall.
Yeah, and all
like
those people
Freddy
coming
bust.
through his chest are actually normal sized
Yeah.
people. And just the animatronics and the robots of them ripping Freddy apart to let the souls out.
And
I thought it was good.
and we got more boobs.
And we got more boobs. You get boy boobs too.
No, you don't.
Yeah, you do. It's the first guy.
I was gonna say I liked that they used like thick red string to be the blood vessels of the people. 'cause you can see
was
the
all
red
veins? Or?
Yeah, they're supposed to be veins, and I liked it because you could tell that it was red. Like if you look hard enough, it's definitely just red yarn. But I
Mhm.
like how the effect looks.
It was twofold. It was red yarn from his sweater being ripped apart, but it also acted as
How do you
the
know
veins. Never Sleep Again. It's a 3.5 hour
that?
documentary
I don't have the
on
attention span.
It's really good because it goes through all the movies.
I don't have the attention
And it brings
span.
you back, or brings back all of the actors from all the movies. And it's a really good show.
That's what I
Including
was
Patricia Arquette.
No, she doesn't do it.
Mm.
That's what I was watching when you first heard about Nightmare on Elm Street. You watched the making of it before we watched the first movie.
I did. It
Okay.
made it less scary.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, there you go. And what I like about this is that all the souls get released. And I felt like maybe, just maybe, Freddy was gone. Because without the souls, he definitely doesn't have any power now.
If that
Yeah.
was the way that they got rid of Freddy, that would have been awful.
I kind of agree with you, though.
Awful.
You know, the kids are getting revenge on him. They basically are fighting back and getting freed. And I thought it's going to sound hokey, but I thought it was kind of cute when the little spirits are floating away. And if you watch the subtitles,
They're saying
especially,
thank you.
They go, thank you, goodbye.
Yeah.
And the last one that floats away says, bye-bye.
Yeah. No, I thought it was great.
And they're all going to heaven. I kept thinking, that's all the murders from all the movies. So that's our Dream Warriors
Yeah,
being
that's all
released
of them.
as well.
Nancy was in there.
Yeah.
I
So-
think it's convenient that Alice is the Dream Master and her brother just so happens to be dating Kristen, who just so happens to be one of the last war. Like, is it really that small of a town?
Yeah, it really is. So we cut to the next scene. It's the daytime, and Dan and Alice are by a wishing well. And I like this bit because you know how we have to get a little nod, but this one was really subtle. We see Freddy's reflection in the water just for a moment, and then the coin goes in and it disappears. And Alice is like, no, I'm good. Everything's wonderful. We get the Sinead O'Connor song again, and then that is the Dream Master.
The way that this ended kind of goes back to what I was saying in the beginning of Freddy. When he doesn't have any powers, he can't affect the real world. He's just a shadow, a reflection of what he was. And that's what he has become again. He is again a powerless reflection.
Oh, sure. I thought it was just in her head.
Yeah.
But
daydreaming again.
yeah. All right. What do you guys think? You guys ready to rate this flick?
I'm ready to rate this flick. John, are you ready to rate this flick?
I'm more excited about this review than Freddy was for his fiery golden shower.
Hey, Professor, how do we... Wait,
I'm not the professor.
that motherfucker isn't even here.
Well, she knows how we do our reviews. Why don't we-
How do we do our reviews, Elyse?
We rate the movies on a scale from 1 to 5 Fs. A 0 is a movie we don't give an F about, and a 5 is cinematic gold.
All right, who wants to go first? Elyse, you are the guest. You get to choose. You can go first or go last.
I want to go last.
All right, you or me, bud.
You go first.
All right, I'll go first. A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, is probably my third, maybe fourth favorite movie out of the 7. I think that this follows the story set by 1, 3, and it continues to 5. I like the characters, even though we didn't get very long to get to know them. I like that they brought back everything that makes a Nightmare on Elm Street movie a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. The theme, the jump rope, the scares. Freddy does go more talkative. This isn't my favorite Freddy, but he's okay. I don't mind him. Overall, I think that the practicals were fantastic. Most of the deaths make sense. It flows very nice. And at 84 minutes, you can't fucking beat it. So I'm giving A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, 3.75 fucks.
Would you like me to go next?
Yes, sir. You go next.
But before I do, Don,
Yes.
would you like to guess my rating?
Okay. You are going to give A Nightmare on Elm Street 4. You said this is like your second least favorite or your least favorite?
Oh, no,
In
no.
the range?
No, this one is about the middle.
Okay. Oh, in that case, you are going to give The Dream Master 3.25 fucks.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Okay. Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, isn't my favorite entry in the franchise, but it's definitely not the worst. No one's winning an Oscar here, but that's par for the course in horror sequels. Lisa Wilcox stands out as the best performance, while Tuesday Night was kind of a huge letdown for me. Having Dan play the damsel in distress was actually a cool flip in the script. But his performance for me fell flat. I barely cared whether he made it. Robert Englund, of course, he always does an amazing job and delivers as Freddy in all his MTV glory and gory with inventive kills and razor-sharp one-liners. Rewatching it, I was bummed they killed off Kincaid and Joey so fast. They deserved more. Honestly, scrap Rick, Sheila, and Dan or kill them off earlier to give those two more story and screen time. Out of all 7 Nightmare on Elm Street films, this one lands around 3 or 4 for me. So for those reasons, I'm giving Dream Master 3.25 out of 5 fucks. It's not my favorite, but not the bottom of the list.
Bam, nailed it. You're up, little one.
I don't like this one. I know, and I tried, I really have, but I remember the first time we watched it, and we watched it upstairs, and it was the middle of the day, and we had just watched the third one, and I loved Kristen. I loved Kristen's character. She's one of my favorite final girls in the whole history of like all the horror movies I've seen. I love Kristen. I really love Kristen, and they just killed her off so fast. And like, I was okay with the recast. I like Tuesday Night. I think it's really funny that her name is Tuesday and that her last name is Night. That's hilarious to me. But I like her, and I liked Kristen's character. I couldn't. Alice's character there was no, like, the growth that she has, it just feels so fast. Everything in this movie happens so fast. They don't have time to build characters. So I give it like a 1.5.
1.5 fucks from Elyse.
I would not watch this one again.
Really?
Probably about the same score the professor would give.
Well, it's just 3 is so...
True.
I love 3. 1 and 3 are my absolute favorites, but I would rather watch 2 over this one any day.
I wouldn't. I would watch this one. I would watch this one before.
2 has more heart. This one you just don't grow with the characters. They just grow too fast. It's unnatural.
All right. Well, there you go. With 3.75 fucks for me and 3.25 fucks from the comic book guy, that gives A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, an average of 3.5 fucks, which now ties it in the 19th spot with Devotion, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, Free Guy, Little Miss Sunshine, Peanut Butter Falcon, Heat, and Big Trouble in Little China. It is slightly better than Tango and Cash, Sicario, Tremors, Ocean's 12, Whiplash, Barbarian, and Summer School. It is slightly worse than The Shining, Commando, Top Gun, and 1917. All right, that is going to wrap it up for this episode of Three Guys in a Flick. If you would like to know which movie we're going to be reviewing next, please check out the website. Speaking of which, hey, John, where can they find us?
They can find us at our website, threeguysinaflick.com.
You just type in 3 Guys in a Flick. You guys own the trademark. You're the first thing that pops up.
Yep. They can also find us at all of social media, where on Tuesdays, I've started posting on Facebook and on X what movie we will be releasing on Thursday. You can also find us at every place that hosts podcasts. In fact, while you're listening to us right now, give us a like, subscribe, and if you want to put in the comments a movie you would like us to review next, absolutely put it in there, and we will get that into the helmet.
I just want to thank Elyse for coming on and doing the Dream Masters. Did you have fun?
Yes. I wish I was the third one, but I will forever hate Keenan for getting the third one.
I just want to thank anyone who listens and who has suggested a movie. We had a lot of fun going down to Elm Street. 4 down, 4 to go. For Three Guys in a Flick, I'm Don.
I'm John.
And I'm Elyse. How sweet, fresh meat.
3 guys with some rights, yeah, dive into the flicks. We're here for the real talk, no time for the tricks. Don as the captain, steering us right. Kid drops now to shedding light. John with the comics, bringing the hype. From the good, the bad, to the absurd, we break it down, make sure you heard. Passion for the screen, we ride or die about movies. You know, we always give a fuck, no lie.
Evil will see itself, and it shall die. No, but I'll mix it with you, too, so we'll all three... You know what? Don't be a crybaby.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Dad!
What?
In the microphone?
Huh?
Which one?
Your eldest.
He said his first rated R movie was in Hawaii.
No, his first rated R movie was Deep Blue Sea when we went to Long Beach.
No, he said it was...
Okay, I was there.
He said it was in Hawaii, and he said that there were boobies on the screen, and Papa Ernie covered his eyes, but then let him look like that.
She said boobies.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. Okay, agree to disagree, but I'm pretty sure I know as his father that that's the way it happened.
You have a bad memory.
Thanks, babe.
You're welcome.
He won't listen to this one.
I know.
You can put that in the stingers.
And so we cut to Kristen and her mom. Or no. And so we cut to Kristen. No. And
Should we
so
ask Katie?
What?
Should we ask Katie?
She what?
Should we ask Katie?
About
Ask
being a
Katie
redhead.
what?
Is she a dream master because she's a redhead?
Well, she's an airhead. I don't know if that makes a difference.
Well, it would just starve Freddy to kill a redhead.
Because they don't have a soul.
Yeah.
I like where your head's at.
Don't want to dream no more.
Now say, roll credits.
Roll call.
Credits.
You tied this movie with Little Miss Sunshine? Who gave it the low rating?
Well, me and John gave it a 3. Professor gave it a 4.5.
See, no, you guys... Riley, Dad, I expected better from you.
All right. May all of your days and nights be filled with happiness. All right. Fuck up. Good night.
Catch the vibe, as three guys in a fight, keep the passion alive. Fuck that.